Okay. Next thing that we are going to do today is to prove. My job is very simple. I keep giving you identities and you keep writing the proofs. It is as simple as that. So, this is prove that one sin inverse x plus cos inverse x is equal to y by 2 if minus 1 is less than equal to x is less than equal to 1. Now geometrically as well as algebraically, both proofs you should be able to write very clearly and show it to me. Okay, wait for you. Let us solve it now. Let us do it. We start with sin inverse x. Sin inverse x. Let sin inverse x is equal to y. The moment we write this statement, we should write x is in what range? Okay, and y is in what range? Y is in minus pi by 2. Okay, so we start. Sin x is equal to sin y. Now x is equal to sin y. Now we want to get this fellow also in the picture, cos inverse. Therefore, can we write sin inverse sin of y is equal to cos of pi by 2 minus y. This is trigo.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I wish to take cos inverse, am I in the required zone? That is what I have to check, because now I am supposed to take x is equal to cos of pi by 2 minus y. Okay, this is the most important. I mean, very important step is trigonometric adjustment that you have to do by at what you want to prove. That is first step. And second step, what angle change that you are, so that you remain in domain range requirement of the inverse. So I am allowed to take inverse of x provided x is between minus 1 to 1, which it is, no problem. And I am allowed to take cos inverse provided the angle is in desired range. So now we have minus pi by 2 is less than equal to y is less than equal to pi by 2. That implies minus pi by 2 is less than or equal to y is less than minus y is less than or equal to pi by 2, multiplying both sides of inequality and flipping the inequality. Then adding pi by 2 to both sides make it 0 less than or equal to pi by 2 minus y less than or equal to pi. Oh, that is good. This is desired for cos inverse, and hence we can directly take cos inverse. Cos inverse of x is equal to pi by 2 minus y, and our y was sin inverse of x. This implies sin inverse of x plus cos inverse of x is equal to pi by. This adjustment was simple. However, every time it might not be simple. You have to do trigonometry very correctly and efficiently, and domain correction also accurately. So this is what was first problem. Let us take the second. Second is exactly same, and third is also same, but your notebook should have both the solutions. Therefore, I have to give it to you. Problem number 2, tan inverse x plus cot inverse x. Pi by 2 if x belongs to R. And the third problem is sec inverse x plus cosec inverse x is equal to pi by 2 if 1 is less than equal to mod x. Now let me just finish explaining this first problem geometrically also. You have to look at the board. Suppose आता सर्कल काढलं तर इलिप्स येणार आहे. काय खरं नाही. Okay. Now sine inverse x is equal to y. So if you draw some angle here, which is say this is y angle, and this is your sine value, which is x. Okay, this distance is x. So if this distance is x, then we wish to also take cos inverse of x. So cos inverse of x means if this is positive, then you will have this distance equal to x. Okay, and the terminal ray will be here. Right. So if you are maintaining these two distances same, then I mean this is ellipse, but this is unit circle today. So if this is y, then of course this has to be pi by 2 minus y, because there is a congruency playing role. This angle is y. Okay, have you understood? Therefore it is a direct answer that cos inverse x plus sine inverse x is pi by 2, and doesn't matter where this x is, not necessary. The x, okay, suppose we take x negative here. Suppose we take x negative. Okay, then it is the corresponding terminal ray here, and it is reporting this angle alpha. Okay, so y will be alpha, and if we take this x to the negative side, then the corresponding terminal ray will be somewhere here. Right now they are looking like opposite rays, but I hope you will understand. Today my sketching is bad because my scaling is not correct. My pad and the screen, they are not very well scaled. Okay. Yes.
Sir, in your screen share properties, it is showing that your screen resolution is 1920 times 1020, and it should be 1920 times 1080.
Where should I go in screen resolution?
Sir, in settings, I think.
Should I minimize and change the screen settings, or what should I do?
Sir, I think in the Windows display settings, you can change the resolution.
Next problem number 4. Prove that sine inverse x is equal to I should not give you the answer, or let me give you the answer for the first problem. Minus cos inverse root of 1 minus x square if minus 1 is less than equal to x is less than 0, and cos inverse x, cos inverse radical 1 minus x square if 0 is less than equal to x is less than equal to 1. Okay, solve this. We are dealing with sine inverse and cos inverse. So as far as angles are concerned, sine inverse is from here to here and cos inverse is from here to here, both inclusive. Therefore, when we are in first quadrant, when the terminal ray is in the first quadrant, we are safe. When the terminal ray is in the first quadrant, we are safe, and therefore we are in the first quadrant means value of x is between 0 to 1. Okay, so this is easy and safe case. When the value of x is between 0 to 1. So let us do that first. If 0 is less than equal to x is less than equal to 1, sine inverse of x is equal to y. So x is between 0 to 1 implies y is between 0 less than equal to y less than equal to pi by 2. Okay, so therefore sine y is equal to x. Therefore sine square y is equal to x square. Therefore 1 minus sine square y is equal to 1 minus x square. Okay, and therefore cos square y is equal to 1 minus x square. Taking positive square root of both sides, we get cos y. Now whether our y cos y will be positive or negative, what square root you should take here? 1 minus x square. You have plus or minus sign over here. Now this, from this point onward, we are not dealing with inverse trigonometry, we are dealing with trigonometry. Therefore there are relatively less rules in trigonometry, so you need not have to worry. Cos y is equal to radical 1 minus x square, but you can have positive or negative. However, y is between 0 to pi by 2 and therefore cos ratio is going to be positive. So it is not accidentally we have taken plus, but consciously you have to take this plus. Okay, and now you have to cross check. If you want to invert, I mean take inverse, y is equal to cos inverse of this quantity if you want to say, then you should ensure that y is in the range of cos inverse and radical 1 minus x square is in the domain of cos inverse. Okay, so if minus x minus 1 less than x is less than sorry, we are dealing with second case. 0 is less than equal to x is less than equal to 1, right? Therefore 0 is less than equal to x square is less than equal to 1. Therefore minus 1 is less than equal to minus x square is less than equal to 0. Therefore 0 is less than equal to 1 minus x square is less than equal to 1, and therefore 0 is less than equal to radical 1 minus x square is less than equal to 1. Yes. Now you can take cos inverse because this radical 1 minus x square is in the domain of cos inverse, and this implies cos inverse of radical 1 minus x square is equal to y. That is what is this proof number 2. As far as proof number 1 is concerned, what is the difference? Let sine inverse x is equal to y. X is where now? X is between minus 1 less than equal to x is less than 0. Right? So when you are talking about this, then you are talking about sine inverse. Therefore, the angle is between minus pi by 2 is less than equal to y is strictly less than 0. Now this is important. I mean, see, you are dealing with sine inverse of x, which is equal to y. Y is an angle. If x is between minus 1 to 1, if x is between minus 1 to 1, your angle is bound to be between minus pi by 2 to 0. Okay. Therefore, sine y is equal to x. Okay, so this is fine. Now you do this exactly same trigonometry again and get cos y is equal to, now let me write cos square y, cos square y is equal to 1 minus x square. So I am jumping onto this step directly because all the steps are same. Now if I wish to take cos y, square root of this quantity 1 minus x square. So now our y is between 0 minus pi by 2 to 0. Y is between minus pi by 2 to 0 here. Is that right? And this angle is not available when you take cos inverse. This angle y is not in the range of cos inverse. Therefore, you are not allowed to take cos inverse over here. That is one part. And second, which sign are you going to choose here? Cos inverse, cos of angle between minus pi by 2 to 0 is still going to be positive. So this sign is still going to be positive. Have you understood this? This is trigonometry. Because your y is between minus pi by 2 to 0, you will get cos angle positive. So this is positive. Now here we have taken cos inverse directly because radical 1 minus x square was in the desired zone as well as y was in the desired zone. However, I cannot take cos inverse here because y is not in the desired zone. Will this be correct? 0 radical 1 minus x square. Do we need to do something to radical 1 minus x square, or is it okay?
So we need to subtract. So we have to subtract y from pi.
We have to subtract y from pi.
Pi from y. Y from pi.
Pi from y or y from pi?
सर
Y from pi.
नाही.
सर
Let us go systematically.
सर असं नाही करावं लागणार, आपण असं पण डायरेक्ट करू शकतो की कॉस ऑफ वाय इज इक्वल टू कॉस ऑफ मायनस वन.
Cos of y is equal to cos of, करू शकतो, बरोबर आहे.
तर मग तसं करायचं आणि मग मायनस वाय इज इक्वल टू कॉस इनवर्स घ्यायचं आणि मग वाय ची साईन इकडे शिफ्ट करायची दुसरीकडे. झालं.
Yes, I mean, see, correct. And see, it is not that there are more than one ways of dealing with this problem. There is a unique way of dealing with this problem. That is what I wanted to bring it to your notice. By adding, subtracting pi, you are not going to do the domain correction or range correction. It is not going to happen. The only way to do the range correction, range of cos inverse or domain of cos. So the only way to do the range correction is by considering trigonometry. Cos of opposite of y is equal to radical 1 minus x square. That is the only way. And let us check if by doing this, are we in the desired zone? Now I cannot take cos inverse. Multiplying the entire inequality by minus 1, I get 0 less than y minus y is less than equal to pi by 2. Correct? बरोबर चाललंय? आणि now it is in the desired zone. Minus y is in the desired zone, and therefore I can take minus y is equal to cos inverse of radical 1 minus x square makes it y is equal to opposite of cos inverse radical 1 minus x square, which is our second result when x is between minus 1 to 0. Now, if you want, we can check with by adding pi and subtracting pi, whatever. We are not going to get the desired result. That is what we can check if you wish to. Somebody was saying that we have to add pi to y or add y to pi, whatever. Can we check that? Shall we do it, or are you convinced that this is the only adjustment that we need to do? And that adjustment is easy when RHS is given to you. If RHS is not given to you and you are supposed to find out the RHS, it becomes little difficult, but that is what is inverse trigonometric functions all about. Correcting domain and range and then taking cos inverse is the only game that we are playing for different identities. Okay, so shall I give you the little difficult problem? अरे हो कि नहीं?
Yes, sir.
Express cos inverse is equal to, of course, in terms of sin inverse, cos inverse, of course, x. Now, in terms of sin inverse, when I say, you may say that pi by 2 minus sin inverse x, but that is what is not expected. In terms of sin inverse, radical 1 minus x square. Okay, that makes the question complete. Express cos inverse x in terms of sin inverse radical 1 minus x square. Kara, I wait for 4-5 minutes. Okay, so now I will do it little fast. Cos inverse x is equal to y. Now again the same diagram. You have sine defined in this zone, cos defined in the other zone, inverses, and therefore we should take safe case to start with, and therefore we consider x is between 0 to okay, so simple, and therefore y will be between 0 less than equal to y less than equal to pi by 2. This is straightforward. Cos x cos y is equal to x. Okay, so cos square 1 minus everything, so sine square y is equal to radical 1 minus x square. Again y is in first quadrant, therefore this is positive sign. Sorry, not okay, sin y is equal to this with positive sign. Now, is y invertible? Yes. Is this in the desired zone? Yes. Therefore, we can directly say y is equal to sin inverse radical 1 minus x square. So, first part is over. Second part. Cos inverse x is equal to y. 0 is included, therefore minus 1 is less than equal to x, strictly less than 0, and therefore now your y angle is where? When it is 0, it is pi by 2, strictly less than, y is less than equal to pi. Okay, So we know that y is between pi by 2 to pi, and we process cos y is equal to x. We arrive at sine square y is equal to radical 1 minus x. Now, if we write down sine y here, sorry, okay. If I write down sine y here, of course I am supposed to write radical 1 minus x square, but y is in this zone, therefore sine y will be again positive, no issue. This step need to be followed meticulously. You cannot just randomly choose positive sign, because in some cases you may end up having a negative sign here. So sine y is equal to this. Now I cannot take sine inverse because y is out of range. Okay, so I need to do some trigonometric adjustment where I should not lose the ratio sign. It should not be cos or something else. It should be sine, but I should be able to bring this fellow back into the desired zone. And essentially the desired zone will be, that is what is my feeling, minus pi by 2 to 0, because we have exhausted 0 to pi by 2 in this case. Let us see. So what do you suggest? Sine of, now what do you suggest?
Sir, pi minus y.
Pi minus y. Sine y is sine pi minus y. The numerically the value is exactly going to be 1 minus x square. So multiplying by minus sign, you get minus pi less than minus y less than minus pi. Adding pi, 0 less than my pi minus y less than r. Which one is equality here? बराबर है? Adding pi by adding pi. So this becomes pi by, fair enough. So now it is in the same, actually 0 to pi by 2, 0 to pi by 2, but this is invertible and trigonometry is also satisfied. Therefore inverting, we get pi minus y is equal to sine inverse radical 1 minus x square, and therefore y is equal to pi minus sine inverse radical 1 minus x square. Okay, now I have
सर आधीच्या प्रॉब्लेम मध्ये पण हाफ आपला हाफ टर्म इन गेलेला होता, हाफ रेंज एक्झॉस्टच नव्हती झाली, आणि आता सगळ्यात पण हाफ रेंज एक्झॉस्ट नाही झाली.
सेमच आहे, कारण आपण अल्जेब्रिक ऍडजस्टमेंट करतोय म्हणून, बाकी काही नाही. कारण तो मायनस वाय केलाय ना ऑलरेडी, त्यामुळे तो फ्लिप झाला. ऍक्च्युली तो एक्झॉस्ट होतोय पण तो फ्लिप झाला. एनिवे, वी नीड नॉट टू वरी अबाउट दॅट. नाउ लेट मी एक्सप्लेन दिस geometrically and what adjustment you are supposed to do here. This idea you will get from geometry very quickly. Okay, so let me have a terminal ray between minus pi, pi by 2 to pi, where the angle is y. So if my terminal ray is here, okay, in that case the angle is y. This is y angle, and corresponding x value, which is cos of x, is y. So corresponding x value is this. Okay, x is definitely negative. It is between 0 to x. So this is what is the y value that you are getting. Now look at this. Let us do it here itself. This is 90, this is x, and this is 1. Therefore side opposite side is root of 1 minus x square. Okay, so if this angle is y, then this angle is pi minus y, and its sine is root of 1 minus x square. So we are talking about this angle. Okay, so now it is this quantity. It is this quantity is radical 1 minus x square. So it is positive. So on y-axis it is this distance. It is this distance which we are talking about. And if we take sine inverse of this distance, we will end up being this side. We will end up being, this is what is our going to be our terminal ray. So we wanted angle y, but we will get this angle y dash. We will get y dash angle the moment we take sine inverse of radical 1 minus x square, because radical 1 minus x square is this quantity on y-axis. If you take sine inverse of this quantity, you will get this angle, which is between 0 to pi by 2, which is y dash. But we don't want y dash, we want y. So geometrically you can identify that these two rays are reflections in y-axis. Therefore y is equal to pi by 2 pi minus y dash. Pi minus y dash. That is what is the adjustment, and that is what is reflecting here. Okay, and automatically if you do that adjustment in the range correction, you will get it within the range, because you are manipulating it exactly the way geometry demands. So this is very important. Now only thing here is, the earlier problems it was sine versus sine, so there was no much issue. Here sine, cos inverse is versus sine inverse. Therefore if x is your value of cos inverse x if you are considering, then for sine inverse you have to consider the other side in right angle triangle. That is the only change that you have. Now let us see if you have observed this and followed this properly or not by doing some other example. Yes, any doubt?
सर ते साइन व्हायला आपण जे पॉझिटिव्ह घेतोय ना, पॉझिटिव्ह रूट ऑफ 1 मायनस एक्स स्क्वेअर, ते का मला कळलं एक्झॅक्टली.
हा, कारण इथे y ची काय किंमत आहे? y इज बिटवीन व्हॉट? पाय बाय 2 टू पाय. बरोबर आहे. सो साइन ऑफ y if we take, then it will be positive. Pure trigonometry. If between pi by 2 to इथे आहे ना, terminal ray is somewhere here, and therefore value of sine is going to be positive. This is positive value, therefore we are taking positive here as well as here, because y is between pi by 2 to pi, therefore positive.
सर
Yes.
सर आणि त्या वाय वरच्या कंडिशन्स कशा आल्या परत सांगता का एकदा?
कुठच्या? आता इथे सांगितली तीच ना, की the y angle is between pi by 2 to pi. That means this is what is going to be your terminal ray. Okay, so you want this angle y back. However, if you take sine inverse of this quantity, which is radical 1 minus x square, you will be thrown in the first quadrant, because landing of sine inverse is between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. It will not land anywhere else. It will land between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So corresponding value of this will take you at y dash and not at y, but you are expecting y. Therefore the correction is y is equal to pi minus y dash. That is what we are doing here. Y is equal to pi minus y dash, and eventually we are calling this also y. Numerically pi minus y dash and y, they are same. The sign values are same, both of them. Arey, samajhte ka? This is little involved, but if you take deep interest in it and try to understand it with full concentration, it is easy. It is not difficult. And every problem we are doing more or less same thing, but only little more adjustment here and there. Okay, shall I give you the next problem? Okay, here I would like to make a remark. It is not a problem itself. Remark is, therefore these two problems put together imply cos of sine inverse x is equal to, and sine of cos inverse x is equal to काय आहे उत्तर radical 1 minus x square. Radical 1 minus x square. Okay, so you can note this. This is something to be noted. Next problem. Express sine inverse x in terms of tan inverse of function of x. This is going to be easy because sine inverse and tan inverse more or less, except two values, their range is same. Okay, so only thing that you need to calculate is what is tan going to be, inverse going to be. Suppose this is your theta, then sine theta is this x, this is 1, therefore this is radical 1 minus x square, therefore tan theta is equal to x upon radical 1 minus x square. Okay, and whenever theta is between minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, whenever minus 1 is less than equal to x is less than equal to 1, theta is between minus pi by 2 to less than equal to theta is less than equal to pi by 2. Only problem here is for pi by 2. So if you ignore those and consider minus 1 strictly less than x is strictly less than 1 and pi by 2 minus strictly less than z theta is strictly less than pi by 2, then you are safe, and therefore sine inverse x is equal to tan inverse x upon radical 1 minus x square. Okay, and as Pranav has rightly said, if x is equal to 1, then sine inverse of x is equal to pi by 2, and if x is equal to minus 1, then sine inverse of x is equal to minus pi by 2. Okay, so that is easy. Now express next problem.
सर एक्सक्यूज मी, अब निगेटिव्ह का नाही होणार?
काय निगेटिव्ह नाही होणार?
टॅन इनवर्स ऑफ एक्स म्हणजे
हे
साइन इनवर्स ऑफ एक्स मायनस टॅन इनवर्स हा
नाही होणार, कारण
का नाही होणार कधी?
सांगतो ना, हे बघा. Okay, sine is defined from here where dark circle. Okay, range sine inverse ची ही राहणार आहे आणि tan inverse ची रेंज काय राहणार आहे, हॉलो सर्कल आणि ही, बरोबर आहे का? त्यामुळे if you consider any terminal ray other than the extreme ones, all of them are well behaved as far as sine inverse is concerned and tan inverse is concerned. Yes or no? All of them are well behaved. नाही पटत आहे? जर आपण प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व
पटतंय.
प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व करायला लागलो तर हा जो थीटा आहे ना, तो तुला डिझायर्ड झोन मध्ये ऑलरेडी आहे. Therefore there is no need to do the correction. There is no need to do correction. Only the boundary cases you need to delete because they are not available in tan inverse. So if your terminal ray is like this, then you are in trouble, because tan inverse will not give you this value. It is not there in the range. Those are the only two cases you need to worry about. Otherwise, sine and tan are friendly angles. So if I want to express, okay, this is a good question. Now express, having done this, express tan inverse x in terms of sine inverse f of x. काय करणार आहात? काही नाही, फक्त राईट अँगल ट्रायंगल काढायचा. थीटा, this is tan inverse of x, therefore x and 1, therefore this is 1 plus x square. Okay, so what will be sine of theta? X upon sorry, radical 1 plus x square. So this is our main function. Okay, now tan inverse of x, where domain x is a real number. When we talk about tan inverse of x, x belongs to R. So is it okay with us? X belongs to R when we write. Now see, this is the stage where you need to be extremely careful, because you are going to invert a function now. Sin theta is equal to x upon radical 1 plus x square is fine trigonometrically. You need not have to worry about domain codomain. But now it is about, now this statement and this statement we are going to say equivalent. What? Theta is equal to sine inverse of x upon radical 1 plus x square. If we are saying that these two statements are equivalent, we have to do this checking. Check whether x is acceptable. Check whether x is acceptable. Check whether theta is in the desired range or not. You need to do this checking every time you try to invert. So if x is real number, we don't mind. This quantity is always going to be between -1 to 1 if x is a real number. So fine, no problem. As far as theta is concerned, theta will be between -pi/2 to pi/2, excluding -pi/2 and +pi/2. Therefore, it is in the desired range of sine inverse also. So the answer is tan inverse x is equal to sine inverse x upon radical 1 plus x square if x belongs to R. Finished. Most versatile case. Next. Express cos inverse x in terms of tan inverse f of x. I give you 5-7 minutes for this. Okay, let us first solve geometrically now and then deal with algebra. Now we have been given cos inverse x. Okay, so the safe case is when you are in 0 to 1. Okay, so let us deal with that first. Cos inverse x is equal to theta when 0 is less than equal to x is less than equal to 1. Then cos inverse, therefore 0 less than equal to theta less than equal to pi/2. Okay, and therefore we need to just find out the main function. this is theta, cos means this is x, this is 1, therefore this is 1 minus x square, and we want tan. Therefore tan theta is equal to radical 1 minus x square upon x. This is our main function. So,
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
So shouldn't we take x greater than equal to 0 and less than 1? So
greater than
because
equal
x is equal to 1, it's a tan is not tan inverse is for pi by 2 is not defined.
tan inverse. Yes, so now, I mean, this statement is correct. So far, this statement is not wrong. I mean, it is just the information about the angle x and theta. Now, when we will express it in terms of tan inverse, we will do the necessary corrections. Okay. So, this is given information I have captured, and because cos inverse x is equal to theta, x must be between 0 to 1. 1 is included because in cos inverse x, 1 is x included, and if 1 is included, then theta is between 0 to pi by 2. So, this is case 1. Therefore, cos of theta is equal to x, right? And therefore, directly I come and write, therefore, tan of theta is equal to radical 1 minus x square upon x. You can do lot of algebra here and arrive at tan of theta, okay? But I am directly writing because we know this, okay? So now I have to check while tan, I am now, next step is very important. I am supposed to take tan inverse. And in case of tan inverse, this quantity is real number, which is okay with us. This is real number, and theta should be between minus pi by 2 to pi exclusive, and theta is also in the desired one. Only question is if the x value equals 1.
So x equals 1 चालतं, x equal to 0 नाही चालत.
When x is equal to 1, कधी होणार?
हो सर x equal to 1 चालतं, x equal to 0 नाही चालत.
काय?
Sir, x equal to 0 नाही चालत, x equal to 1 चालतं.
X is equal to 0 चालणार नाही because 0. So we have to now consider that if we are taking inverse, then we consider x less than equal to 1, and in that case theta will be between 0 less than equal to theta is strictly less than pi by 2. Okay, so we have removed that value, x is equal to 0. Maybe we take case 2 and deal with it, answer that question, that is easy. So now if x and theta are in the desired domain and range, then I can take inverse and say that therefore theta is equal to tan inverse of radical 1 minus x square upon x, where theta is cos inverse. So this is done. Now case 2. Okay, so I want to explain case 2 geometrically first rather than algebraically, and then we complete the algebra. So now theta was between 0 to pi by 2. So we have to take a case where theta is somewhere here. Terminal ray is somewhere here, which is in third part. So if terminal ray is here, this is what is our theta. We should get back this theta. This is the answer that we want. So what is its corresponding x value? Corresponding x value is this, which is negatively signed. Therefore, we are talking about the case when minus 1 is less than equal to x is strictly less than 0. So x is here, right? So if x is here and we want this theta, then where will tan of 1 minus radical 1 minus x square upon x will go, right? So now if x is this is 1, then this side is radical 1 minus x square. Is that correct? This is 1, this is x, therefore this is 1 minus x square. So actually, if you look at this formula, then what is this theta in this right angled angle? In this right angle triangle, it is this small angle, which is now. If you are taking tan inverse of this quantity, you will go and land between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Is that right? So if you take now, what about sign of this ratio? Radical 1 minus x square upon x. What is the sign of this? Positive or negative? Numerator is positive, denominator is negative. Therefore, sign of this is negative. Therefore, whatever this small angle that you have made here is going to be a small angle towards the negative side on the fourth quadrant. Okay, so now this is the value of tan. This is the value from here to here. This is the value. How much it is? Radical 1 minus x square upon x. Radical 1 minus x square upon x. That is this value from here to here. And therefore corresponding terminal ray is like this, which is in the fourth quadrant. Therefore the angle is going to be negative. Okay. And then the angle that you are talking about right now is a positive angle. You want this angle and you will get this angle. You want theta and you get alpha, right? So if you want theta and if you get alpha, we know alpha is a negative quantity, some the minus 20, and you want this angle. So you add 180. Now, only thing that you need to understand is these are the two opposite rates, because this angle is equal to this angle. The tan ratio of this angle and tan ratio of this angle is going to be same. But only thing is that we are considering this ray because this ratio has a negative sign. Therefore, this is the terminal ray. And therefore, if you take tan inverse of this quantity, you will end up getting alpha back. Alpha is a negative angle. However, you wanted theta, which is between pi by 2 to pi. And therefore, theta is equal to pi plus alpha. Theta is equal to pi plus alpha, and therefore cos inverse x is equal to pi plus tan inverse radical 1 minus x square upon x if x is between minus 1 less than equal to x less than equal to. So actually, without doing calculations, if your geometry correct, if your understanding of geometry is correct, you can arrive at this. And this is another
Theta is equal to pi minus alpha पाहिजे.
Theta is equal to
Pi minus alpha.
alpha is negative inside. पोटात negative येतो, दिसायला negative नाही. लक्षात येते का? अल्फा जो आहे तो पोटात निगेटिव्ह आहे, दिसायला निगेटिव्ह नाहीये. त्यामुळे पाय प्लस अल्फा बरोबर. अरे परम हो की नाही?
हो सर, कळालं.
Yes. Now let us do this thing algebraically. Algebraically, when we are in this zone, as far as theta is concerned, we are between pi by 2 strictly less than theta strictly less than or equal to cos inverse x is equal to theta. Cos x is equal to cos theta is equal to x. Okay, therefore tan theta is equal to radical 1 minus x square upon x. Now, if I am going to invert this, then this theta will not allow me to take tan inverse. This theta will not allow me to take tan inverse, and therefore I have to bring this theta into the desired zone, and after considering it in the desired zone, the tan theta need to be replaced. Tan theta need to be replaced by some tan angle, such that I get 1 minus x square upon x. So that this is in the range and this is in the domain. This is anyway in the domain. This is anyway in the domain. This is in the range or not, and tan should not change. Okay. So there are a couple of trials you can make here and check whether you are getting in the required range or not. However, because we have done the geometry, or you always can do geometry first. However, nobody is going to ask you to write down these proofs in long answer type, but we should be able to do it. We should be able to do it. Okay, so what should we do? Theta and how are they related? Theta minus pi plus theta. Suppose we do it like this because we know the answer. So minus pi plus theta. So if we subtract pi from here, first of all, is minus pi plus theta equal to tan theta? Are ho ki nahi?
Oh, sir.
Oh, so this is trigonometrically correct. Now only thing is that we have to check. So theta is theta, add minus pi to both, makes it minus pi by 2 less than theta less than equal to 0. Yes, invert. Minus pi plus theta is equal to tan inverse radical 1 minus x square upon x. Therefore, cos inverse x, which was theta, is equal to x plus tan inverse. Now let us do here and check. If this was pi plus theta, suppose we don't know this, and we do pi plus theta, what happens? If it is pi plus theta will take you somewhere else. It is not going to be in the range. Do you realize that? Or do you realize that this is not acceptable?
Oh, sir.
Pi plus theta, it is going to take you further away from the desired range. So pi plus theta is not acceptable. Minus pi plus theta is not acceptable. Maybe you can try pi minus theta, but pi minus theta, tan of pi minus theta is not tan theta, it is minus tan theta. So that is also not acceptable. And tan of pi minus theta. Minus pi minus theta is also minus tan theta. So out of 4 cases, or out of 4 trials, only one will survive.
Sir,
Oh,
actually tan of pi minus theta ni करता येतं. ते मग ते minus tan theta होतं आणि मग ते जेव्हा आपण इन्व्हर्ट करतो त्याला तेव्हा मग ते होतं बरोबर.
काय?
तर tan of pi minus theta ni पण करता येतं.
कसं इथे मायनस आला तर काय करणार इथे?
सर तो त्या साईडला मायनस घ्यायचा आणि मग इन्व्हर्ट करायचं फंक्शन आणि तरी होतं सर्व.
म्हणजे ते डबल उद्योगच झाले ना ते. तुम्ही हे 4 सरळ सरळ ट्राय करा, त्यातला एक स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड वर्क होणार तो वापरा. मुद्दामून चुकीचं वापरून परत नंतर अजून एक करेक्शन कशाला करायची? येणार उत्तर, कारण तुम्ही खेळत बसलाय. तुम्हाला आता याच्या आधीच्या प्रॉपर्टीज वापरून तुम्ही अपोजिट साइन इकडचं तिकडे ऍब्सॉर्ब करू शकाल, नाही असं नाही, पण इट इज अननेसेसरी. आउट ऑफ दिस 4 ट्रायल्स you will get one which will give you desired value. Use that. ठीक आहे.
तर आपण आता जे सगळे आयडेंटिटीज करतोय ते सगळे पाठ करणे गरजेचं आहे.
काय करणं गरजेचं आहे? पाठ नाही, पटापट करता आले पाहिजे.
ओपन लक्षात
ही
ठेवायला लागणार
नाही, ही सगळी कॅल्क्युलेशन्स डोक्यात करता आले पाहिजे फास्ट, आणि डायरेक्ट हे उत्तर लिहिता आलं पाहिजे. तर पाठ करायची गरज नाही, कारण पाठ केलं तर चुकीचं सुद्धा लक्षात राहण्याची शक्यता आहे. इथे मायनस लक्षात राहील, इथे मध्येच मायनस द्या, मग सगळ्याच गोळ होईल. त्याच्यापेक्षा यू शुड बी एबल टू क्विकली, अँड इफ यू सॉल्व्ह hundreds of problems, then everything will be in place. तुमच्या लक्षात राहणार आहे, काळजी करायचं कारण नाही. ओके, पहिल्यांदाच करताय ना म्हणून थोडा प्रॉब्लेम. ठीक. and therefore because this work which we have done is good, we have got a final result, that is tan of cos inverse x highlighter ने लिहून बघूया कसं ते tan नाही tan of 1 minus x square upon x if x is not equal to, this is just to remember or maybe additional information. Okay, so I have 10 more minutes. Let me give you the final one and then one part of the story is over. Express tan inverse x in terms of cos inverse. Okay, the answers are, you are expressing tan inverse x in terms of cos inverse. Therefore, the main function is going to be theta x1, this is going to be 1 plus x, and cos is going to be cos theta going to be 1 upon radical 1 plus square. Okay, so this is your main function. So I am not solving, I am writing answers. Tan inverse of x is equal to minus cos inverse of 1 upon radical 1 plus x square if x is 0 and is equal to cos inverse of 1 upon radical 1 plus x square if 0 is less than equal to x. This is what is the answer. Okay, that is where we are stopping today. It is exactly 12:30. कोणाला काय विचारायचं आहे? Is there any doubt, difficulty, question?
सॉरी सर, पण तुम्ही आजचा पण बोर्ड पाठवू शकाल का ग्रुपवर?
सगळे पाठवणार मी, आजचं सगळं पाठवणार. नो प्रॉब्लेम.
थँक्यू सर.
Come through the meeting, Zoom meeting, YouTube link which I had sent. वाचा, ऐका जरा ते सगळं.
Yes, sir.
It is applicable to all. Okay. Yes.
सर 11th ऍडमिशनचं काही आहे अपडेट?
नाही, आले की लगेच ग्रुपवर टाकणार. ठीक आहे. ओके, सो स्टॉप शेअर कुठे गेलं? स्टॉप शेअर, एंड मीटिंग.